Hey, welcome everyone. This is the Algebra Teacher Goes BI. This is my third blog. This will be my second video one, but this will be my first solo video one, doing it all on my own. If you've read some of my first two blogs, my first one really, my background is that I'm coming from the education world of being an Algebra 2 teacher for the last 14, 15 years. Made the transition into the Power BI world and the tech world and going to become a trainer. And so I'm learning all this stuff and it's all fresh and new to me. And as I'm going through it, I realize that I might have a different take on some of these things that I'm learning that other people haven't really posted about. And I'm sure like some of the topics, obviously, all you got to do is go to Google, go to YouTube and search things in, and you can find articles upon articles about all the different topics. But I'm trying to, with my blog here, just bring a different side of things that might make it a little bit more teachery, more student teachery kind of thing. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but just the way that my brain thinks about things as I'm trying to figure out what would be an easy way to get this point across to someone else who doesn't have that experience and who might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed learning basically like a brand new language. So one of the first things I wanted to tackle, we'll get rid of this now. One of the first things I wanted to tackle was this merging of queries. When I was learning it, through my training, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, these are like Venn diagrams. And what the concept of merging a query lends itself to set theory, which is something that I teach in Algebra 2 and Algebra 1 as well. And so let's just kind of get into it. I'll start talking about it. And if you go to if you look at the text on the blog, the actual article, I'll pull it up for you. You're gonna see this, and we're gonna reference this throughout the video. So I put it into words of what's going on, at least the way that I think about it. But I wanted to use this video to kind of show it as well, because sometimes it's harder to learn just by reading. Some people it's harder to learn just by watching. So I wanted to give you that multimedia experience there for auditory and visual learners as well. So the basic of what a merge query is doing is we need to, in the Power Query Editor, we need to take two tables of data, and this is just very simple data, where we've got two tables, but we want to combine them into one table. Well, why would we want to do this? Well, one, if we have large sets of data, when we load something from the query editor into Power BI, all that data is going to go into the RAM. And the more data you have, the slower the processing speed will be. So if we have two tables full of 1 million rows each and 4 columns, but we really only need one of those columns to be added to our other table, we just saved a whole bunch of space. So here's a scenario. We were collecting information on customers, and each customer has their own customer ID. And so they filled out a survey for us. And in one department, the survey they filled out was how many kids they had. And then one of our other departments sent out a survey and they asked each customer, what college major did you have and what is your email address? And so if we look at both of these tables, we see that not all the customers are represented in both tables. And here we have customers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then here we go 1, 2, 3, no 4, no 7, no 8, but we have a 10. So we're going to go through some of these joins that are the most common that you will use. And the first one's called an inner join. And what an inner join is, remember, our whole goal is we are going to try to take a column from one table and put it onto another table. But we can't just like smush them together, because we would have, for example, let's say we even did that. So we got 1, 2, 3, there's 2 3s here. And if we just smush the column from kids into majors, 1, 2, 3, okay, we're fine, 0, 3, 1, that matches. But our fourth row here is for customer ID 4. Our fourth row in the majors table is still customer ID 3. So it's not as simple as just copying and pasting. So we're going to use some math in the background to make this work. And what we're going to do is called an inner join. And what an inner join is going to do is we want some commonality. That's why in this Venn diagram, and this is what piqued my interest, is that we say that we have to have something in common. Well, what is it that we have to have in common? Well, it's that relationship that Power BI makes for us, or that we will make for it if it didn't do it for us already. And to where we have a unique identifier in each table. So here we have customer ID, and on the other one we have customer ID. So customer 1 and 1, they're the same person. It's just we asked them out on 2 different surveys about some information. So customer 1 has 0 kids English major, and their email address is jenny@v.com. And so when we make this new table, we're only concerned about our customers who have all three of our characteristics that we're looking for. We want to know the number of kids, their college major, and their email address. So what we do, we'll go back into our query editor here. We are going to make, so when we do our merge, we like to do, for best Power BI practice, is we want to do a merge query as new. That way, when we make the merge, we don't mess with the original data. We are making a new table. And that way, if we do make a mistake, it's easy just to delete this new table and the original data never got messed with. So one of the things we want to do is we're going to click on the table we want to start with. So I'm going to click on kids because that's how it matches up with my PDF to reference to. So I'm going to click on kids. I'm going to go up to merge queries as new. So merge queries in the upper right hand, merge queries as new. And this is going to bring up our merge queries window. And so this is our first table, kids. So that's the table. We want to bring in more columns into this table. Well, where do we want to get those columns from? We want to get them from the majors table. So we're going to come down here, going to select majors. And then the next thing you're going to have to do is tell Power BI, okay, this is what you want to do. How do you want me to bring them back? What am I supposed to look for? What is the key column that makes all of these people unique? And so for here, we just use customer ID because that's the only thing that these things have in common. And for our join kind, we're going to go through quite a few of these in this little demo here. But for our join kind right now, we're going to start off with the most common, which is inner. An inner join will return only the matching rows. Well, how do we know if it's a matching row? We know if it's a matching row based on customer ID. So Power BI is going to say, all right, I'm going to start in the kids table. So my first row has customer ID 1. I'm going to look in the second table and see if it has customer ID 1. If it does, then I'm going to bring back the college major and that email address for that customer and slap it right on. All right, and so I'm going to show you the PDF in a second, but let's click this. If we see at the very bottom, we have 5 of 8 rows that are going to be returned. So that means we have 5 rows in common between the two tables. I'm going to click OK, merge. When you get to this, what has happened is Power BI has brought in a whole new table, but we can't put a whole table in one cell. So what we do is we come over here and we click our double arrows off to the upper right-hand part of your cell here. And we're going to click what we want to return back. Now, we could return all 3 columns if we wanted to, which is fine, but there's really no need to return back the customer ID because that's already part of our first table. So I'm going to uncheck that. Best practice, I'm just going to uncheck use original column name as prefix as well, just if we were making this into an official table. But this is more just for demo purposes. And so we have this new table here. So let's go take a look at it because I put it into our PDF, and let's take a look. So these were the 2 originals. Then here's our new one. And if we look, we've got exactly what we wanted. And actually, you know what? I'm going to pull it up over here so we can do some highlighting instead. So 1, it got brought back. So 0 kids, English, and Jenny. Okay. Customer ID 2. Sure, we've got a customer ID 2 here as well. So number of kids is 3 because that's the original table. And then we slap on these 2 new columns, Medicine and Ryan. Now, here's one of the interesting ones. When we get to customer ID 3, we go, yeah, 3, sure, this one matches up. So it brings back finance and Rishi for the email. But then there's another row of 3 here. So it's going to check all the way through. So once it identifies this is the key ID for this row, it's going to look through all of these and see if there are any 3s. 1, many, however. And there's 2 of them. So that's why we have 2 rows at the 3 level. We get to 4, and that's where we have an issue. For our 4, we don't have a 4 over here, which is why a 4 never got returned. And so this is how an inner join works. We're looking for that matching key column. Now, the math person in me, the teacher person in me said, you know what, I think I can explain this another way of how I would have taught this in a math class. When we would do what we call an intersection of Venn diagrams, we would say, hey, we're looking for people that have all these different kinds of characteristics, but we want to only pull in the people that have the same characteristic in common. So one of the examples I used to use is I would make a group of my friends, Matt, and then I'd make a group of Jaguar fans, Jacksonville, Florida, Duval, right? So what we would do for an inner join is, I'm just gonna go through here and really quickly do the inner join, see what our answers are, and then I'm gonna explain it in the math terminology of how to explain this to my students. So Matt's friends, Jaguar fans, we're gonna look for this. This is our key column because these are customer names, not just random IDs anymore. So we actually have something. And I want to go to inner only. I'm gonna click OK, see what this new one looks like. Go through this quickly. Jaguar fans, don't want that. Boom. And here is our new table. And the reason why the names are mentioned, because I didn't put any other attributes with it. I'm just simply showing this to see what would get returned, who matches up. So let's go into the OneNote over here and see what this really looks like. These are all of my friends. I put them in a table. And these are all just Jaguar fans. So these are just people that said, hey, I'm a Jaguar fan. And if I do an inner join, it's like me saying, hey, I'm going to have a party. And at my party, you're only allowed in if you are my friend and you are a Jaguar fan. So when Molly shows up, I go, hey, yep, you're my friend and you're a Jaguar fan. Come on in. So she gets put in. Nathan comes. He's my friend. He's a Jaguar fan. He's in. Rick shows up. He's my friend. He's not a Jaguar fan. He is not getting in because he didn't satisfy both. And that's what an intersection is in set theory. They had to be part of both. So this table, this Rick, he doesn't get to come in. This is not returned into my inner join because it was not part of this table and the second table. So that is what an inner join is in terms of something that's not really businessy data related, but more math wise. So that's our first that's our first kind of join, which is an inner join. Our next one's called a left outer join. With the left outer join, it's a little bit different. If you see, we're still going to get that middle section. So we can automatically go with all the results of our inner join are going to be there because we're looking for that intersection. Just like up here, we had that intersection. Up here, we had that intersection. But here's what's different. We will also accept the extras who were part of the left-hand table to begin with. So we're being not as picky. We're not saying, hey, you have to be part of both. We're saying, okay, if you're part of both, you're automatically in. But if you're just in the left table, but you don't show up in the right, we're still going to let you in. So let's see what that's going to look like in Power BI. And we'll use the original one to start with. So we'll do our merge. And again, I'm going to do kids as my original table. So I'm going up to merge queries, merge is new. And then I'm going to add on the one that has the majors and their email addresses. We're still going to look it up by customer ID, but this time we're going to do a left outer. And notice what it says. It says we are going to return all from the first and any that are matching from the second. So again, we're saying, hey, if you're part of the left-hand table, you get in no matter what. Right-hand table people, you only get in if you match with my key column on the left-hand table. So let's see what we return. So we got our merge two. You know what? Let me go rename this one. So if we're looking at it in the video, this was our inner join. This one's going to be our left outer. All right. So let's see what gets returned. We want to hit our double arrows. We don't want that customer ID because we already know it's part of our original table. We click OK. Oh, we got some interesting things going on here. So we see here these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These first 6 were part of our original inner joins. Okay, nothing new there. But now customer ID 4, 7, and 8, they are now part of this new table because they were part of the left-hand side that got excluded the first time when it was an inner. But now we're saying, hey, if you're in the left, I don't care if you're part of the right-hand table or not. Well, let's look. They were not part of the right-hand table, which is why when that column gets put in there for these customers, there's no data to put in there because they didn't exist on that other table. So Power BI automatically defaults and puts in null values for them. So that's kind of neat. So again, that was what happened when we did a left outer join. And so before I go back over to the OneNote, let's do this again, and we'll do it with our Jaguars fans. So that's the more data side. And again, some of you might be watching at this point and going, yeah, this is easy. I understand this. And that's fine. But like I said, I'm trying to take that different approach to where someone who's brand new to this stuff, who hasn't had any data experience, hasn't done VLOOKUPs or haven't done SQL joins, like I'm trying to make it to where, this is finally making sense now of why it's working the way it's working in the background. So I'm going to do a left outer join with Matt's friends and the Jaguars fans. So I'm going to do merge queries again. Merge queries is new. And I'm going to put in the Jaguar fans. We're going to look them up by customer name. And now we're going to do a left outer. So before we do this, let's talk about what this means in terms of my party. My last party, I said, hey, you can only come to my football party on Sunday if you're my friend and you're a Jaguar fan. Super exclusive. Today, though, not as exclusive. I say, hey, any of my friends are allowed to be there. Any friend, you are allowed to be there. So all my friends, I guarantee they're going to be in this new table. Jaguar fans, not any Jaguar fan, because the Jaguar fans are my right-hand table. I'm saying, no, not all of you are allowed there. Only the Jaguar friends, only the Jaguar fans who are my friends are going to be allowed to be there. So let's click on OK and see what we get. All right, it's got a table. Let's just keep the Jaguar fans, got rid of that. And now let's take a look. All right, 1 through 7, no big surprise. Those were the people that were there at my party last Sunday. But we got some new people who are at the party. My new people at the party are Rick, Crystal, and Adam, because they're here because they are my friend. But notice their name doesn't show up as a Jaguar fan because they didn't exist in this table. So if we were actually measuring attributes of these people, and let's say in the Jaguars fans, I had a separate column up here for in that table that, had their age or had their favorite food for the party or whatever. Their data would not have shown up. It would have said nulls for all of them because they weren't the Jaguar fan. They didn't get to put that info in. But they're still part of my new table because they satisfied the left-hand condition. All right, so pretty neat stuff there. And again, if you take a look at my PDF I'm on the OneNote, we see all that again. And I go more in depth into and explain it, in words if you want to take a look at that. So then we have right outer join. Well, right outer join, if we think about it, it's going to be the exact opposite of a left. So now we're saying, hey, we're going to get that intersection again, no matter what. They're going to be there. So those original 7 people are going to be there. But now the right-hand side, we're saying anyone in the right-hand table automatically gets put in. You do not have to be part of the left-hand table as well. So let's just do this with with our real data. So we're going to go kids. We're going to go merge queries as new. Again, so we see, how we do this, and you're probably already figuring out what's going to happen. But we're going to go kids. We're going to put in with the majors, look them up by customer ID. We're going to go right outer. We're going to click on OK. This is going to be our right outer. So let me rename this. Click on here. And we don't need their customer ID, but we do want that. And let's see what we've got here. Okay, so these were the ones that matched 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, and 6. So we have kids, we have their major, we have their email address. But here's where we have something different. We have the music and the psychology major get returned for the right-hand table. All right, they got returned, but number of kids didn't get returned because these customers were not in the left-hand table. And notice their customer ID didn't get returned because remember, I'm only asking for the customer ID to get returned from the left-hand table. So just to make sure we're all on the same page there, if I come back here, let me go back here. And when we look at this, we go to the majors table. Remember, customer ID 9 and 10, that's technically would have gotten returned if I asked it to return the customer IDs. But since I'm joining it to the left-hand table and I didn't ask it to join it from the left-hand table, then it's not there. But just to be super clear, let me go back to my right outer. Let me get rid of my expand major step. Let's click on that. And let's bring in the customer ID just so we can see it. So if I asked it to bring in the customer ID from the right-hand table, it would have shown up here. and we see that they all match. All right, and so again, I'm not going to do it again for the Jaguars one. I'm just going to show the output. If we did the Jaguar fan one, I would say, hey, for my party this Sunday, all Jaguar fans, you're in, no matter what. No matter what. I don't care if you're my friend. All Jaguar friends get to come in. But if you're my friend, you must be a Jaguars fan. You got to be part of that intersection group. So the people who aren't going to get to come are those people who are my friends, but they're not Jaguar friends or Jaguar fans. All right. So I hope this clarifies some things. And I didn't put this last one in my documentation. Well, I have it right here, my left anti-join. So left anti-join, I'm just not going to do it in the Power BI site this time. What we're saying here, we're saying anti. So we don't want you to have anything in common. Now we're saying, hey, I just want, if you are part of the left-hand table, but you cannot be part of the right-hand table. So what we do here is if we took a look, what would have returned? We get 4, 7, and 8 customer ID because they're part of the left. 4, let me highlight these. 4, 7, and 8. They're part of the left, but they're not part of the right. So that's called a left anti-join. And this, again, this would be like for my Jaguar party, I'm saying, hey, well, it's not a Jaguar party anymore because now I'm saying, if you think about it, I'm saying, hey, friends are okay, but you can't be my friend and a Jaguar fan. I only want friends who are not Jaguar fans. And so in the math world, we call these complements as well. We're saying, give me everything from table A, but not things that are included in table B. And we call that a complement in the set theory Venn diagram world. So again, I don't know. I'm hoping that this made sense. And some people think this is a really simple and easy concept and topic. But I wanted to put my own teacher spin on it of how, I would have planned on, if I had to teach my middle school students how to do this, I think they could get this in a cinch because we did set theory, and I think it makes some pretty good sense. So anyways, if you like it, comment below. I'll be putting, blogs out, videos out once every week or two. Again, taking a different approach to it than what you might normally see.